Good morning, students. Good morning, all of you. So, in the previous videos, we just spoke about the physical properties of metal. But now we will see how these metals react when they come in contact with some other chemical substances, how that reaction happens, and how those reactions are different in metals and non-metals. So, that is what we are going to discuss in chemical properties of metals. So first of all, let us talk about how metal react with oxygen. Now where is oxygen present? It is present in the air. So if metal is exposed to air, it should react with oxygen. So let us see how. Now almost all metal that combine with oxygen, they form a metal oxides. Okay, so metals react with oxygen and they form metal oxides, and these metal oxides are basic in nature. So we will talk about that later. Now let us look at some of the chemical reactions. Let us see how different metals react. Any metal react with oxygen to form a metal oxide. So let us take some example. Suppose if you consider a metal magnesium, when it combined with oxygen to form magnesium oxide, that is MgO. So if you gonna balance this equation, that is how it would be. You would have seen this. You can also perform this. We will perform it in our laboratory. Okay. Right now I'm saying that when the magnesium ribbon is burned in the presence of oxygen, then the ash you obtain is nothing but a magnesium oxide. Not only magnesium, you take an example of some other metals. For example, copper. Copper react with oxygen to form copper oxide. You take example of aluminium, also react with oxygen to form aluminium oxide. That is Al2O3. So all the metals will form metal oxides. In fact, formation of this metal oxide can be evidently seen as well. So let us take the example of rusting. So have you ever seen that any object which is made up of iron is kept outside or exposed to air and water for a long time? Or let us say that you have some iron say bucket or iron vessel, and you have left it outside, so obviously it is exposed to oxygen and air, and let's say that air is moist, that means air has water. So whenever iron come in contact with air and water, what happens? Rusting takes place. So you will see that on that iron bucket you see some reddish layer. So that reddish color layer which is formed is nothing but a rust. So this rust is a result of reaction of iron with oxygen in presence of water. So let us talk about rusting. Now rusting always happens in the presence of oxygen and water, so that is why we say moist air. So we will talk about iron. Now in case of iron, how exactly the reaction take place? So iron is Fe. Iron react with oxygen in presence of water. So it could be moist air. Okay, it could also happen that the air is dry, but there is some water droplets on the iron substance. So what will this form? This form iron hydroxide. That is OH whole 3. So basically it is an iron hydroxide. So if you want to balance the equation, this is how it would be. So we have balanced the equation. Now this iron hydroxide later dehydrates. It loses all its water content to form Fe2O3.XH2O, and this substance is nothing but this is a rust. So the reddish color layer or the reddish color powdery substance which is seen on the surface of iron object is nothing but Fe2O3.NH2O or XH2O. This is how rusting of iron takes place. Now you would have seen this kind of rust even in the case of bridges. Bridges are made up of iron, so you will see that the corner of bridges, they get rusted when it because it has been when it is cold, because it is exposed to air and water from a very long time. Okay, so on that there is a protective layer of another metal which does not form rust, so that is how rusting can be prevented. Now iron is not the only metal in which the rusting take place. If you see the copper also, you can see some greenish layer form over it. See here, like iron you have a red layer. In case of copper, you have a greenish layer. So this greenish layer is rust. So this rusting of copper is due to the formation of copper hydroxide in presence of oxygen and water. Let us see how the reaction takes place in case of copper. Copper react with water, carbon dioxide plus oxygen. This is basically represent the moist air. The air has moisture in it. So this form copper hydroxide, which is seen as CuOH2 plus Cu, so CO3. So due to the formation of this copper hydroxide, we see this green color rust in case of copper. So this is how rusting happen. So copper undergoes rusting when it is exposed to moist air. Now you see all the metals, they react in presence of oxygen. That's how it is when we talk about reaction with oxygen. Now the next question is that comes to your mind, are these metal oxide acidic or basic in nature? So these metals oxide, whether we talk about magnesium oxide or we talk about copper oxide, we talk about aluminium oxide, so all these oxides, they are acids or they are bases. Acids and bases are defined by their pH value. Now how do we test whether a particular substance is acidic in nature or basic in nature? Now we will follow the simple litmus test. You remember the litmus test? What happened in that? So in litmus test, we have a litmus paper like this. Now there are two type of litmus paper. One is red litmus and the other is blue litmus. Now if any solution is what you have to do, you have to dip the litmus in solution, and based on the changes in the color, you can say whether the solution is acidic in nature or basic in nature. Now what happened in this test is, if the red litmus turns blue, that means the solution is basic. And if the blue litmus turns red, that means it is acidic. So this is the simple funda of the litmus test. So this is how we can determine whether a particular solution is acidic or basic in nature. Now in this section, our aim is to find out whether metal oxide are acidic or basic. So how do we do that? So first of all, we have to prepare a solution of metal oxide. That means we have to combine the metal oxide with water. So how do we do that? Let us take an example of any metal oxide. For example, I take, say, magnesium. Correct? So how was magnesium oxide formed? Metal, when react with oxygen, it combined with oxygen to form magnesium oxide. So how do we get this magnesium oxide? Now if you perform the same experiment, you burn the magnesium ribbon, you get what? You get ashes. So the ash you get is nothing but magnesium oxide. Now take this ash, mix it with water, so you are basically getting a solution. Now in that solution, basically in this solution is ash plus water. And what is ash? Ash is nothing but a magnesium oxide. That is how you have prepared the solution. Now in the solution, you dip a red litmus, and what do you see? You see that a red litmus has turned blue. So it is that it was the original color of the litmus paper, that this portion it has turned blue. So this shows that this solution is basically basic in nature. So metal oxides are basic. So if you try to experiment with another metal oxide, you will see the same result. Okay. For example, if you take some rust, or any material which undergone rust, red powdery thing, the rust, and try to mix it with water, even though it was not mixed properly, but at least you try to mix it to some extent, and then you dip the litmus paper, and you will see that in that case also the red litmus is turned into blue, which shows that the rust is also basic in nature. Now what happened with non-metals? So non-metals also combine with oxygen to form oxides, but in this case the oxides are acidic. So let us take some example of non-metals. For example, sulfur combined with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide, which is a gas. Carbon, which is a non-metal, combined with oxygen to form carbon dioxide, which is again a gas. Hydrogen combined with oxygen to form what? To form water. So you see everywhere it forms oxides. Now our next question is again whether these oxides are acidic or basic in nature. So now the question is, are non-metal oxide, they are acidic or basic? So when I say non-metal oxides, when I am talking about the sulfur dioxide gas or the carbon dioxide gas which was formed. So are these acidic or basic? For that again we will follow the same litmus test, and for that we need a solution so that we can dip the litmus paper. And how do we prepare? We will mix this with water to prepare a solution. So when sulfur dioxide is mixed with water, it forms H2SO3. That is, okay, we will tell the name later. So here when it is combined with carbon dioxide, it forms H2CO3. And then what happens? Then it is found that when the litmus paper, blue litmus, is dipped into the solution, it turns red. This shows that the solution is acidic in nature. So non-metal oxides are acidic. What are these compounds which are formed? It is nothing but the H2SO3 is a sulfurous acid, and the H2SCO3 is a carbonic acid. So all the non-metal oxides are acidic in nature, whereas the metal oxides are basic in nature. So now comes the reactivity of metals. When you talk about metals, it has been seen that different metals react in different ways. So different metals shows different reactivities towards oxygen. Like some of them react very fast with oxygen, some of them react very slowly, some of them even do not react with at all. Okay, so here we will see how different metals react with the same oxygen in different ways. So let us take one example of these metals. So potassium and sodium. Now these metals, they react very fast. So they react very fast. Okay. So they react so fast that they can even catch fire if they get exposed to air, because air contain oxygen. Whenever you keep them exposed to air, they will immediately react, and they produce so much of heat that you can actually see fire. So it catches fire. So it is that reactive. Now you take example of another metal like iron. So in case of iron, it does not burn on heating. So iron itself doesn't burn when heated. When you are heating means you are basically supplying oxygen. So it is the reaction of oxygen. But if you take iron filing, that is a small powdery iron filings, they burn when it's sprinkled on fire. So iron and iron filings, they both behave in different ways when heated. Again, if you take an example of gold and silver, gold is aurum and silver is Ag. Silver, if you take an example of gold and silver, they do not react with oxygen even at high temperature. So there is no reaction with oxygen even at higher temperature. Even if you keep on increasing the temperature, even then also there will be no reaction. So that is why you would have seen that the gold and silver jewelry, they are all exposed to air all the time, but nothing happens to them because they do not react with oxygen. Now we see how the metals react with water. Now in normal condition, when it reacts with water, it forms metal oxide plus hydrogen. Okay. So these metal oxides can further combine with water to form metal hydroxide. So basically, so it again react with water to form metal oxide. So by the end you will receive all the metal hydroxide. But an important point to note is that all metal do not react with water. Okay, it is not necessary that every metal react with water. So here we will talk about some of the metal which react with water. So let us first consider the first metal, that is sodium, which is Na. So let us see how sodium react with water. So sodium again is very reactive. I told you before also that these metals, sodium and potassium, they are extremely reactive. So sodium react vigorously and very fast with water. In this case also, if it is exposed to a little bit of water, it can catch fire. So therefore, in your chemistry labs, in the lab also, sodium is stored in with a special care, because if you put it into water or any chance moisture come in contact it, so it catch water. Therefore it is always stored in a kerosene. So what would be the reaction if when sodium react with water? So Na plus H2O, it form metal oxide plus hydrogen, correct? But this metal oxide will again react with to finally form metal oxide. So what would be the final product? The first is metal oxide and the second is metal hydroxide. So in this case it will form sodium hydroxide, that is NaOH, plus hydrogen gas which will be released, and a lot of heat energy. The heat energy which is released in this reaction is so much, it is so much that this hydrogen gas which is released, it catches fire. So it catches fire, and that is why if it come in contact with the moisture or water, it catches fire. So what form? That is NaOH plus H2O plus a lot of heat energy. So now the heat energy which is released in this reaction is so much, it is so much that this hydrogen gas which is released, it catches fire. So the hydrogen gases catches fire, and that is why if it come in contact with moisture or water, sodium catches fire. So in this case, this water is nothing but a cold water, normal cold water. So even a little bit contact with water can actually result in a fire with sodium. Now similarly, if you look at the reaction for potassium, that is K. So what happened in that case? Potassium plus water, it's form potassium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas plus heat energy. So in this case, this hydrogen which is released that is gaseous form, and what is this? Sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, they are that is an aqueous solution. Okay, you can say. So and this water is of course liquid. So because of so much of reactivity, sodium and potassium are always stored in kerosene, so that it cannot either with oxygen or with water. So this is how these metals react. Okay, so let us go ahead and look at some other metals. So the next metal that we are going to consider is calcium. That's it, that is Ca. So let us see how it react with water. So calcium react with water, so this will also form metal hydroxide, that is CaOH whole twice, and hydrogen gases will be released. But in this case, the reaction is not as violent as potassium and sodium. The reaction is less violent, and the heat energy released in this case is not that much that it can catch fire. So the less amount of heat energy is released during this reaction. But here also calcium can react with cold water. Like there are some metals which do not react with cold water, but when you heat the water, then they tend to react. So in case of calcium, they react with cold water. The next one we are going to talk about is magnesium, that is Mg. Now when magnesium react with water, what happens? Now here in this case it depends. Magnesium does not react with cold water. So if you put magnesium inside cold water, nothing will happen. There will be no reaction at all. But instead of cold water, if you put some hot water to magnesium, then what happens? Then reaction takes place and the magnesium hydroxide is formed. Now in many cases I am not balancing this equation, so please you do that yourself. So in this case the magnesium hydroxide will be formed. So reaction takes place only with hot water. So let us look at some other sets of metal. So the next metal that we are going to consider are aluminium, iron. So let us see how do they react with water. Now these metals, they do not react with cold water. So if you like put them in a cold water, there will be no reaction. Okay, so let us start trying with hot water then. It might react with hot water like how magnesium did. But in this case we see that they don't even react with hot water also. Okay, so that is surprising. Now instead of hot water, if we take steam, that is boiling water is boiling, that converted into steam, then we see that it reacts. So how the reaction looks like? So the reaction is somewhat like this. Aluminium react with steam. It is nothing but steam. It is in the gaseous form of water. So this forms aluminium oxide, that is Al2O3 plus hydrogen gas is released. So if you balance the equation here, you will go. Similarly, the iron, it reacts with steam, which is in gaseous form, to form iron oxide, which is ferric oxide plus hydrogen gas released. So this is how metal react with water, this set of metal. Okay, aluminium and iron. Again, if you consider metals like lead, copper, silver, gold. So if you consider these metals, do you know how do they react with water? They do not react with water at all. So for these, they do not react, whether it is a cold water or it is a hot water or a steam, they do not react at all. So what we will conclude based on our study or reaction of different metals with water. So we see that it really depends from one metal to another. Some metals are so vigorous, they react very fast with water. Some react with cold water, some react with only hot water, some react only with steam, and some do not even react at all. So based on what we have learned so far, we saw that metals, sodium and potassium, they react with cold water itself, and that too react very vigorously. So vigorous that it catches fire. Whereas metals like calcium, they react with cold water, but it is not that vigorous, it is less violent. So in this case the reaction is less violent, so there is no fire and all. Next is magnesium. Now magnesium do not react with cold water, it react only with hot water. Next is aluminium and iron. Now they do not even react with hot water, they react only with steam. And finally these metals like lead, copper, silver, gold. So these metals do not react at all. So the metals vary this much in their reactivity with the same substance. Okay, so now let us see how do non-metal react with water. Now you will be surprised to know that non-metal do not react with water. For example, your carbon, sulfur or nitrogen, they do not react with water at all. In fact, those metals which are highly reactive with oxygen, for example, there are certain non-metal which are very much reactive with oxygen. Phosphorus. For example, phosphorus, when phosphorus is exposed to air, it is highly reactive. So it combined with oxygen to form oxides of phosphorus. So phosphorus is highly reactive in air, that is in presence of oxygen. Therefore, but at the same time it doesn't react with water at all. Therefore, phosphorus is stored in water. So see that there is another interesting factor that how it we stored phosphorus. Just see, inside this you have a white phosphorus. We already learned that this phosphorus is so reactive that even if it exposes to air, it catch fire very easily. So to prevent that, it is stored inside a bottle. Okay, so it is no more contact with air and it is not react with water. So this is again another important point of difference between metal and non-metal, that metal react with water and non-metal do not react with water. So I hope this much is understood to you. If you have any confusion regarding the reaction with oxygen and water in metal and non-metal, you can ask me in your Zoom class. We will continue the next topic in the next video. Thank you, students.